Alright, for today's video, I wanted to draw some more characters, but I didn't know who/what to draw, so I used a random generator to help choose for me. Disclaimer, I cheated, but that's not the point. I jotted down the themes I was feeling and chose 3 to make into characters. We got Goth, Cowboy, and Hanfu Princess. It landed on Princess, but I wanted to draw Hanfu, so I just mixed them together. Once I did that, I made some sketches to get the ideas down and started working on the main sketch. This one right here is the Goth Girl. I guess we can call her Gothy. And the one in the middle is the Cowboy, which you can obviously tell. And the one on the right is going to be the Princess. One thing I will say though is that the proportions to each other are definitely off. You'll see in the end that Gothy is way smaller in comparison to Coleman and Princess. I guess the Cowboy is the only one getting a real name here. Especially her head, it's very small. And I really wanted to make Coleman the biggest one out of them all, but I just couldn't seem to get the right canvas size in Procreate, and so making him any bigger would have quite literally put him out of sight. This is the Hanfu Princess. It was so much fun and honestly a bit challenging to make Princess. I was so scared to make her dress because if you've never seen a traditional Chinese dress before, they are full of layers upon layers and folds and wrinkles that blow in the wind and in small intricate details. I told myself I'm not trying to be Ross Draws level detail. One day though, one day. So I did the best I could at simplifying, but still trying to keep some of that flair. I also wanted her to be a modern day like a modern day trendy teen, hence why she has a phone. Or maybe she's a time traveler, I don't know. Out of all the different fantasy realms and books and movies and different countries to traditional clothing like old-timey clothes, the Chinese style clothing throughout the dynasties are literally the most beautiful and coolest and best clothing ever. It's like a hard choice for me between European medieval style with like the knights and stuff and traditional Chinese style. But when you think about it, it's just so much more detail in their clothes, from the hair to the accessories to even their weapons. Like, their weapons are so cool. It's just so And a lot of fantasy stories pull from either the medieval style or Chinese style, which is what I'm low-key doing on my own fantasy story. I wish I had kept the crosses or like skulls in her eyes. They were cool, but I think I forgot about them and they got lost in the coloring process. I think the biggest gripe I have with this whole piece is this stupid, ugly cat. I so wish that I didn't change it. It was going to be a cute cat, but then I thought it would be funny and more soothing for a goth person to have a more unnerving animal as a pet, so I changed this cute creature into a rat. A freaking ugly one at that. I'm so mad at myself. Just look at this thing compared to what we could have had. I like rats. I think they're cute, but this one ain't it. Oh my goodness, I struggled with his face. I literally redid it like 50 times. I was also trying to decide if he would be a young buck, LL, young buck, or a more experienced man. I went with the man in the end, but it was a lot of trial and effort. For the process, he was just looking weird, not to mention his neck was long as a duck. And yeah, he looked weird for the majority of the process. Honestly, it was pretty fun drawing Coleman's clothes, mainly all his accessories like side pouches in his bullet holder belt thingy, whatever it's called. I was just like, layers, layers. There was so many to do, so much stuff to add and do. Here's some footage of me doing line art, but as I said before, I don't particularly like line art, so I scrapped most of the footage because it felt boring to me. Although some of it was satisfying, like an ASMR, so I kept that portion of it. I only included the aesthetically pleasing parts. It was so soothing though doing the line art. It was mindless. I didn't really need to think about doing it. Like, I had to think about drawing. I had to think about what colors and stuff to use. But with inking, you just go right back over the lines. And I wasn't trying to do any fancy line art, so that made it much easier too. And my second favorite part in making drawings, besides the actual drawing part, is coloring. I went back and forth on his eyes on what color it should be. I couldn't choose if I wanted a more natural look or a more bright and uncommon color. I also really like the way I did the inside of his coat. It's pretty cool. It gives off a more futuristic look. Like, well, futuristic for the 1800s, I guess. I think I add the most details to Gothy because she has the pet rat, multiple spires on her. I hate spires. The webs, I impressed myself with adding those in. Quite creative, if I do say so myself. The chains and the fancy boots. Oh, and the green metal skeleton hand jewelry or whatever you call it. I really like the way her eyes look right now. They don't stay that way though. The spider in her glasses. Bruh, I creeped my own self out. One day I'm going to have to force myself to do a two-toned coloring style. Like, only the base colors and one shadow layer. I tried in the past before to do like a simple coloring style, but the detail rendering side of me always kicked in and I always end up adding an additional 20 plus layers. Like, I can't help it. I'm always like, it just doesn't feel right. It needs more detail. Here you can see me struggling and being confused on how to make her outfit look like shiny leather. I just started to throw colors and shadows on it, hoping it would get the point across. Oh, her phone was so fun to make. I love the Kirby's tomatoes. I honestly only recently found out that the tomatoes are from Kirby and not Super Smash Brothers. That's where I always see them, so naturally I thought they originate from Super Smash. I guess all those years of me playing Kirby never actually paid off. Um, I also just realized that I colored the M wrong, but we're not going to talk about that. The gradients on her dress is what made it for me. They're just so, it added that detail that I forgot to add in, aka I was going to add yellow flowers to her dress, but I completely forgot. And like, I knew throughout this entire like process, like I kept feeling like to myself, something's missing about her dress. What is it? I know something's missing. And it wasn't until after I was editing and I realized, like I went back and looked at old footage that I had recorded. I was like, I forgot to add in the flowers. That's what was missing, and I was highly upset. And I wasn't about to try to go back and add that in. Maybe for another time. Oh my goodness, they would have really brought the piece together. I don't even know. I have no advice to give you. Maybe I don't even know.